All right, so let's get started here. We have our final project for floor planner, storage container home. So if you open up the slideshow, it has all the requirements. At this point in time, you're pretty comfortable with floor planner, drawing rooms, making surfaces. This will be a little bit more advanced, and it'll have some more constraints. So you're going to use 4 shipping containers. So if you see this image, you get to choose. So like some people's houses will be larger than others depending on which sets of storage containers do you use. The 40-foot ones, the 20-foot ones, or the 10-foot ones, or combinations of them. 1 or 2 floors, so you can stack the containers. If you take a look, up and down in the document, you can see the different ones are stacked. Not all of them are stacked though. Like this, for example, is 3 here. You would need to do 4, but 3 on a single floor. And you see some stacked, some not stacked here as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at our example. So you need to have a large living space or an open floor plan. So you don't have to have the open floor plan, but you have to have at least one space that's rather large. 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. So a half bathroom means no shower. Completed kitchen, laundry, storage, and closets, just like in that Edpuzzle we watched. Adequate windows, or like extra adequate windows for these storage units, are really nice. Access to all containers. So like any container that you're placing, you definitely have to be able to get in and out of it. And then some outdoor spaces. So like this beautiful patio. You can see all of the storage containers, because they're so small, they do like really use that outdoor space. All right, let's dive in here. So open up your floor planner, click on projects, and create a project. We do want to name it storage container house, and click start. All right, let's take a look here. So I'm going to start with empty plan, and I'm going to get that little center crosshairs right there in the middle, and head back to look at my units. So this is where you can take a pause and go look up different plans. You guys can come up with something yourself. Look, this is like 2 40s with a 20 in between. This looks like a 40 stacked on a 20. You can go through all of them and see which ones you want the most. So for mine, I'm going to go ahead and take this idea of having a 40, a 40, a 40, and then a 20 in between, and then I'm going to stack a 40 this way. So that way I get all of mine, and with one staircase over here. So let's go ahead and open that up. So first things first is draw a room. So here's my center here. I'm going to just draw a room, I guess. And so this isn't quite right, but I can just click on them to make it right. So I'm going to change this to 40 feet. And let's go back and look at the design. So for this, it's a 40-foot container, which means it's 8.5 feet wide and 8 feet tall. So I'm making just one of these. So 40, 8.5 feet. So I'm just going to do 8.5, and it'll automatically switch me to 8 feet 6 inches, and it does the opposite side. So here is one of my containers, right? So before I move on and start doing anything, I'm going to show you a trick. So if you do shift, you can do that lasso select tool to select this container. Okay, you can move it around, shift. You're going to use the lasso select a lot in this one. And then you have to click off to get it to move. Now, if you look at 3D, one of the things you'll notice here is that, let me see if I can move back a bit. There we go. If I do 3D, you'll see that my outside of the walls are not, it won't show me the outside. Let me turn off cutaway. You'll see the outside of the walls are white, like a drywall house. I don't want the white drywall house. I do want my corrugated shipping container. So let's go ahead, head back to 2D, click on one of the walls, go down here to wall finish, unnamed, click on that, choose a different color. All right, I want to go to materials. I also want to go on to, let me go back here, choose a different color. Where is it? Side 2, right? Side 1 is on the inside. Side 2 is the one I want on the outside. So choose a different color. Materials. And then I did the outdoor ones, and I got corrugated painted white or gray. I'm going to go for gray. I'm going to do that to all the walls. I think if I hold down shift, I can select all of them. There we go, back. Can I do it? No, maybe you have to do them one at a time. It's important to do it now, though, because if you do it now, then when you start duplicating things, it just makes it a lot easier. So side 2 always, and choose a different color, materials, and then go catch that same gray. Do that quickly for all of them. Side 2, materials, gray, and the last wall. So now from here, my 40-foot container is done. And so every time I duplicate it, all those outdoor walls are done. Okay, let's take a look. 3D, boom, look at that, shipping container. So you can work on the doors a little bit more later. And let's just go ahead and now begin to duplicate the shipping container we made. And I'll show you how to make smaller ones, 20-footers and 10-footers. So head back to 2D, zoom in a bit. So once you get it here in the center, if you hold down the shift button, you can lasso select anything on the screen, as much or as little. And you do Control C, Control V, and now you have a duplicated one. If you go and look on 3D, you'll see it has that same, all the settings that I did. Of course, if you're pushing together different storage containers, you can delete these walls and push them together, just like the people going out with saws and cutting off the walls, you know. So now I have 2 here. What I would like to do is to now try making, so I'm going to drag it over here, try making a 20-foot container to go here in the middle. So shift, lasso select, Control C, Control V, and zoom out a bit here. I'm going to drag this one over here. Click off to get it to appear. And see how it says 40 foot for this wall here? I'm going to change that 40 foot, and I'm going to make that 20. Okay, so now I have a 20-foot container. Shift, lasso select, and I'm going to drag this one here into the middle. Now, as I check, probably want to do my measurements. You can see that it doesn't fit perfect. So shift, lasso select, see if I can get just or Control Z, get it outside. Now shift, lasso select, let's move this guy up a little bit, out of the way. Let's get this one back in here. Pop it directly on, a little snap on. All right, now let's move this one up here down. And I'll snap on too, perfect. Click off. And now I can go ahead and start to delete some of these walls. I mean, I'll leave it up to you. You can actually throw doors into these if you wanted to leave it out. But because I'm kind of talking about this large, open space, feel free to go and delete these walls. And then you can actually draw additional walls in. Say, for example, you want to do a little wall there. Call this a little extra room. You can escape to get out of the wall. And finally, the last thing I want to show you guys how to do is now how to bring it up to a second level. So click on 3D here. You can take a look at what you've done. Nice work so far. You can go ahead and bring some window. Like, let's just throw a window in there, see what it looks like. So I want these big open ones. Drag it over there. Click on it. You can make it huge and open if you want. This is a little bit ridiculous. I don't think you can actually make windows that big. But boom, look at that. You see a beautiful artistic, art is the scenery, like she said. So there's one example. Let's go ahead and let's start up this second floor. So what I'd like to do here is, what I should have done is saved a container. What I might be able to do is shift, lasso select, and get that much of one. So Control C. And now I'm going to go and make my second floor. So first floor, I'm going to rename that. Yeah, first floor is good. And I'm going to add a new floor. And I'm not going to have it called floor 1. I want to call it second floor. It's kind of how they do it in Europe, like first floor and then floor 1 is the one above it. Like at least in Sweden, it was ground floor or earth floor or something like that. Okay, so now I have my second floor, Control V, and I want to preserve the position so that this one up here is exactly on top. Let's just go ahead and close up this wall. So just drag it up here. And let's drag that across, make sure that's smooth. All right, now as we go here into 3D, we will need to go to this setting that says show floors below. You can only see the whole house from the top floor. So go to project, make sure you're on that second floor, and then click 3D. Make sure your settings show floors below. So there you go. One thing I did have a trouble with was making sure, because we changed the height of each container to 8.5, we have to actually go ahead and on the settings, we have to make sure that the floor height is 8'6". Even if we already changed the wall height, the whole floor also needs to be changed too. So the way you do that, you go to project, click on the drop arrow to the 3 dots, 8'6" for both of the floors. And then that way you won't have a gap. So when I first started doing this, it first looked like this, like where I had this little gap. If yours looks like this when you sign in, that's because you didn't have the floor height matching the wall height. So go ahead and match that. So go from here, start making your house, look through all the pictures, make your first design. Then I'll show you how to put in stairs and how to add the other things in the roof so that you'll have your finished project.